Okay, this is the Coleman 8-person tent. I got it set up here in my backyard because I wanted to waterproof the tent to see how it's going to do. It's supposed to rain in the next couple of days. So I waterproofed it with this stuff here. I was looking at some of the reviews on the internet. They say that it's supposed to work pretty good. So I gave it a nice liberal coating of it. I don't know if I would say 2 coats, but I gave it a nice good coating all the way around on the top, in the windows, and it's a pretty decent tent. I'll show you the inside on another video, but it probably took me about a minute or so to set it up by myself, since this was my first time. But so it was quick to set up. I didn't need the instructions. It's pretty easy to do. So I went on and sprayed it, like I said, with this weatherproofing, and I want to see how it holds up in the rain. So I'm gonna check back in a few days after it rains. I'm gonna leave it set up for a couple of days because I saw a lot of people on YouTube talking about how quick it was to set up, which it was, but I didn't see many videos about how it holds up after rain. So I'm gonna come back after it rains and we'll take a look at the inside and see how it held up. All right, the Coleman 8-person Insta tent took me about maybe a minute or so to set it up completely. That's minus staking and the guidelines. Okay, so I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is the inside of the tent. All of the windows are zipped up now because I just waterproofed it. But the tent has a pretty nice bit of space in it. When we go camping, we normally have a queen size air mattress, and looking at the size of this room, I think about half of the tent might encompass that queen size mattress, and we still have a whole half a side for our gear, maybe a small table, maybe a couple of chairs, something like that. This side of the tent here is, that you see now, all of these panels open up where it'd be like a little screened in room. And then there's a section up here that you see we have it rolled up now. If we drop that down, it'll pretty much split the tent into 2 sides. So this side here, when these panels are down, the whole tent would be like a little screen room. Not the whole tent, just this half. And then this side here, over here, that side would have our queen size air mattress on it. And I don't know if you can see, there's like a little seam going across the center of the floor right there. That is kind of like the center point of the tent. So it's actually a decent sized tent. I don't know, maybe if you had Boy Scouts or something, or small children, you probably can get 6, 7 of them in here, maybe with backpacks. But for us adults, probably just 2 adults, me, my wife, might have room maybe for 1 more, like the granddaughter, maybe grandson. It's a pretty decent tent. So it's supposed to rain tonight, so I waterproofed all on the outside of this, at the top, all along the sides. So after tonight, we'll come in and we'll see if the tent leaked at all. Hey you guys, I know it's probably hard to see me. Let me do it this way. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to finish the video that I was doing in the yard regarding the Coleman 8-person tent, but actually now we're on the camping trip and we're getting some rain. I don't know, maybe it's about 10 o'clock at night, something like that, and we've been getting some moderate rain. It's been a little heavy for a few minutes now, but it's been raining for, I'd say, maybe the last hour, I would imagine, and it's still coming down. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. So anyway, we have 3 Coleman tents on this trip. We have the Coleman 8-person tent that we're in. We also have a Coleman Insta tent for 6-person that one of our people have. And then we also have a Coleman Sundome tent here on this site. So I'll check with everybody in the morning, see how their tents held up in the rain. So I'll talk to you all then. Okay, so this is the day after the rain that I was telling you all about last night. We did get what everybody here on our campsite is describing as light to moderate rain. And then we got a wave of rain last night that came down pretty heavy. And it was pretty consistent last night. The wind was blowing. This tent did pretty good. I'm going to take you on the inside now and just show you a couple of things that I noticed from last night. One of the problems I had was with this double zipper right here. Down at the bottom where the 3 zippers come together. I didn't have the zippers all the way closed down here. And so I did have some water that came in right here, but that was my fault because I didn't have all of the zippers nice and tight down here. So I did have a nice little puddle of water right here. The other place that I noticed inside of the tent, this is our little setup here. This is a queen size bed inside of the tent. And as you can see, it does have the room divider, but we didn't use that. And actually, it's just 2 adults were staying in this tent last night. But another area that I had a challenge with this particular tent was the seam. There's a seam right here on this side here. I saw it dripping from here, and then it dripped all the way down. And it wasn't that much, maybe a quarter size puddle of water that was down here in this part of the floor. And I followed the stream from this seam right here. But I believe with some seam sealer, that's kind of like that glue stick type of a seam sealer. I believe if I put some seam sealer right there, that'll take care of that problem right there. But I did have a little bit of water that was down here in the floor. Also over here, on this corner here, this seam was leaking right about here. And I had a bit of water, a couple of drops of water that dropped down here in this corner here. But so the same thing, I believe with some seam sealer, it would probably take care of that. Then the third area that I had an issue with was with this back door. And it was, again, this seam right here was, I saw tiny drips of water that was running down the side. And then I had a bit of water down here on the floor in the corner. Again, I would say it was no more than a quarter size or maybe dollar bill size worth of space. This tent, I did not have the rain fly on the tent, but I believe if I had the rain fly would cover those seam areas and the tent would have been perfectly dry. With the exception of my mistake, which was handling the double zippers down here, this tent would have been totally dry last night. With the rain fly, or I believe once I apply the seam sealer on those 3 areas that I was telling you about, this tent would have been bone dry. So basically, I am satisfied with the tent. I'm not going to complain about it and say, you know, the tent is junk, it's no good, because the tent did very well even without the rain fly. So I'm just going to seal up those. Matter of fact, I might seal up all of the seams once I get that seam sealer, just for extra protection. Now, as you saw in the earlier part of the video, I had this tent in my yard, and I was spraying it down with that silicone rain protector. The tent did perfectly fine. When I was last night, when it was raining, when I was trying to find out where it was leaking with the flashlight, I could see the water beading up on top, and it was just rolling right off the tent. So the silicone water sealant did an excellent job. Water rolled right off the tent. There was no moisture on the inner tent walls or anything like that. Everything was fine. So, hey, I am going to give a thumbs up to this tent, with the exception of taking care of those areas, those 3 areas I was telling you, with some seam sealer, and the other area was over here. With some seam sealer, and yeah, this tent would have did perfectly fine. But hey, I would recommend, if you can, buy the rainfly. That will give some added protection, and hey, no worries. So that is, this will probably conclude my review on the Coleman 8-person instant tent. And by the way, when we got here, it did take us about a good minute and a half, I'll say, to set it up. It was my wife's first time helping me set it up, so it took us a little longer. But with next time, it might take us right about a minute. So it did set up very quickly, and I am satisfied with this tent.